There is no ordinary Tuesday.
Okay.
Right? What I love about this job is that every day is crazy different.
Yeah.
And every day has a stupid amount of volatility.
Yeah.
And I thrive on that.
Yep.
I love that I have to show up fully for it to work.
Welcome back to That's a Rep. And again, we are on site. It's been really exciting to be able to interview people in our podcast studio here in Maryland. So we talk a lot on the show about training the mind the way you train the body. But today, I want to go somewhere we don't usually go, inside the head of the person who built the gym. My guest today is Vineet Rajan, CEO and co-founder of Forte. Today, we're not talking about mental fitness in the abstract. We're talking about what it actually looks like to carry a company, make decisions that affect real people like me, and stay mentally fit when the weight of that is sitting on your chest, sometimes at 2 a.m., right?
Right.
If you've ever led anything, a team, a company, a family, this one is for you. Vineet is the CEO and co-founder of Forte, the company behind Mental Fitness, which is the framework for this very podcast. He's been building in the performance and well-being space long enough to know that the hardest reps aren't the ones you program. They're the ones life hands you without warning. Vineet, let's start somewhere real. You spend a lot of time thinking about what mental fitness looks like for other people, for the people using Forte, for the teams we work with. But I'm curious what it looks like from the inside for you, because leadership has this reputation of being aspirational, exciting, all the highlight reel stuff. And I think there's a version of it that almost nobody describes out loud. So can you speak to that for us today?
Yeah. I'm probably going to disappoint a lot of people. This has been a non-linear, highly uncertain, crazy journey. But anything worth doing is. And I've experienced some of the highs and certainly some of the lows of trying to create this category of mental fitness for everyone else, but mostly because I need it myself. So I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
We can get real as we want to be, and I'm excited to do that.
Yeah. So when you think about the internal experience of being a founder and CEO, not the pitch version, not the polished LinkedIn version, what does that actually feel like on an ordinary Tuesday for you?
Well, let's start with there is no ordinary Tuesday.
Okay.
Right? What I love about this job is that every day is crazy different.
Yeah.
And every day has a stupid amount of volatility.
Yeah.
And I thrive on that.
Yep.
I love that I have to show up fully for it to work. And so the ordinary Tuesday could mean hiring a vendor to help us build this thing called mental fitness and then that not working out, which we've experienced. It could mean hiring an employee that's going to be one of the missing pieces of our team and that work out. We're looking for that employee right now. It could mean that I actually have to part ways with an employee, which is one of the hardest parts of being a leader of a company. But it's the right call for the employer or the organization, and it's the right call for the employee, the human. It could be winning that huge customer renewal or losing that customer that we couldn't figure out how to serve, and we don't know why it didn't work out. It could mean making the biggest sale of our year or our existence, or losing a deal that we worked on for 6 months. All of that could happen on a Tuesday, many of it all on the same day.
Wow, that's a lot. But there's this idea with leadership that the higher you go, sometimes the lonelier it can feel. Fewer people you can be honest with, fewer rooms where you can put the weight down. Have you personally felt that? Because from my perspective, I feel like you've done a pretty good job of surrounding yourself with people to make sure that you're not alone in this.
Yeah. I mean, I think the reality is that the more vulnerable you're willing to be, the more authentic you can be. And that version allows you to run harder and farther and faster than being a false sense of yourself. And what I want to be known for is just being honest, meaning what I say and saying what I mean. And that doesn't mean that what I get to say is easy or fun or enjoyable. But it does mean that the most loving thing I can do is be honest with one another, because that's what I want for myself.
Yeah.
So I've tried to learn how to do that with a high level of empathy and care for my fellow teammate and people I get the privilege of serving. But there are some things that I can't share as widely, as broadly as I want to. But that's partially to protect the employee or the teammate from carrying a burden that I don't want them to carry.
Yeah.
Because not everybody wants to carry the burden of a back office.
Right.
Not everybody wants to know about compliance.
Yeah.
Right? Not everybody wants to understand the legal part of how we do things.
Mm-hmm.
And while that might not be a thing that you care about, it is absolutely essential to build a company and the organization and the framework that's designed to deliver at scale for tens of thousands of people.
Yeah.
But I have to carry that.
Yeah.
And that's part of my job.
Yeah.
And so I don't share some of those things, not because I'm trying to hide something, but because I'm trying to protect people from having to carry a burden that they don't want to carry, nor are they designed to carry.
Yeah. And in my case, when you start talking about that, my eyes glaze over and I go into a different world because I have no idea what you're talking about.
I mean, to be fair to everybody, my eyes glaze over, right? Everyone thinks about being the CEO of a company. It's really cool and fun. And there are parts of it that are phenomenal. But most of the time, most CEOs are staying awake at night thinking about what are the greatest risks to the mission being accomplished.
Yep.
Which means that psychologically, I'm spending most of my time thinking about the worst outcomes possible and saying, how can I protect the company from that? Which means I'm not even doing the things that I wanted to do in the first place. Why I started the company, I'm more and more removed from doing.
Yep.
That, if we're being honest, sucks.
Yeah.
Right? But the love of the mission and the vision that we have outweighs the cost of the day-to-day operations.
Yeah. Which leads to our next question that might go somewhere that I think takes some courage to talk about publicly, but I'm sure you're a strong man. You're fine to do that. A lot of CEOs realize when they start the company, like you said, I'm all in on this thing. It's great. But then you start to get pulled into this direction of all of the minutia. Has there been a time for you where many other people have had, where you've been like, I don't want to do this. I can't do this anymore. This is too much. And I feel like I could just walk away right now.
Oh, there's been multiple times.
Yeah.
There's been multiple times that I wanted to stop doing the work. But that's where the value is.
Yeah.
Let me back up really quickly, right? If you want to, I have a 12-year-old son and he wants to get stronger. And he wants the strength without putting the work in sometimes.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
Right? But what does building a muscle really mean? You're tearing out muscle fibers. And if you let it rest, they go back together stronger. And you become stronger.
Yeah.
Right? Very simply. Nobody likes the tearing apart part. We want to skip over that.
Yeah. It hurts.
It hurts.
Yeah.
It sucks. It costs. But we want the strength. We want the outcome.
Yeah.
We want the results. Well, there's plenty of times where I'm like, this muscle fiber tearing thing in my soul doesn't feel very good. But I do want the outcome. I want that person in a part of the country that I'll never have the privilege of meeting directly to benefit from this thing that I know that if they participated would change their life.
Yeah.
And more importantly, it changed their kids' lives.
Yeah.
It changed their neighbors' lives. It changed their employees' lives. That's worth the cost.
Yeah.
But let's get to the actual question. Yeah, there's been plenty of times where I've wanted to quit. And those are the moments where you really question, what's your motivation? Why are you putting yourself through the pain that you're putting yourself through?
Yeah. So what is the motivation for you? How have you built the endurance to say, I can do this, even in those moments?
Honestly, I'm still figuring that out. I think I'm still figuring out every time I think I know what I'm doing in this stage of this startup, a new problem presents itself. A problem that I feel wholly unqualified to answer. And I don't even know what the pathway looks like. But it's not too different if you're a parent.
Yeah.
Raising your kids.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, my kids will sleep when they hit this age. And then they go through a growth spurt. Or their teeth are coming in. Or their teeth are falling out. Or whatever the weird thing is. And I'm like, I finally have accepted that actually, as a father, that every season there'll be a new challenge that I'm not prepared for or fully capable of answering the call, and I'll figure it out.
Mm.
I'll do it with my kids.
Yeah.
It won't be perfect, but we'll just figure it out together. In the startup world, I have learned, now that we're about to hit our 5th year this year, that actually the problems will never change.
Mm-hmm.
The types of problems will always be new.
Mm-hmm.
The magnitude of that problem might change.
Yeah.
Right? And what I need to stop lying to myself to think, oh, it'll be easy one day.
Yep.
It just won't be. It'll be a different kind of hard.
Yep.
And so I have to do things to help me make this race.
Yeah.
So for me, that has to be like, I have to be outside of the context of like, all I do is think about Forte.
Yeah.
That's been really difficult.
Yep.
If I'm being honest,
Mm-hmm.
that's really difficult because I care so much about this thing. I have found in this season of my life that something really restorative of just running by myself.
Mm.
There's no gadgets.
Yep.
There's no emails. There's no Slacks. There's no notifications. I am outside.
Yeah.
I feel the sun on my back. I'm running slow as molasses, and it's just me.
Mm-hmm.
And for a few moments, there is no role or job to be done. There's no title. There's no thing to solve. I'm just running.
Yeah.
And so that has been really helpful. Another thing is trying to enjoy the simple pleasures of life.
Yeah.
A really good meal goes a really long way.
Yeah.
Like really, I love eating food.
Yep.
Maybe that's why I run.
Yeah.
Right? Or being outside and watching my kids play a baseball game or something like that. Or my daughter had a track meet and just screaming my head off as she runs her heart out.
Yeah.
For a few moments, I'm just present.
Yeah.
And just remembering that that's available to me.
Yep.
That helps me go a long way.
Yeah. And some of the things that you're talking about is what mental fitness is built on, is taking those moments to pause and breathe and reflect and be aware of what's going on around you. And I find myself, even in my own life right now, doing these mental reps. And it's not until afterwards that I'm like, oh, I learned that from the content that I'm making, from the mental fitness exercises that we put out there. And it's really cool to be a part of a culture. And Dennis and I talked about this a little bit in another podcast, that it's not just something we're selling. It's something that this company is trying to live too. And you've built a really good foundation for that. And I appreciate too that you're recognizing it in your own life and doing something about it. And I'm sure that people have spoken into you of like, hey, you gotta breathe, and surrounding yourself with accountability. That's so important. And I appreciate that you're willing to listen, because we can be as motivated as possible in this life. Motivation can fuel us, but eventually that fuel is going to run out. There's a difference between motivation and meaning. And when we can find meaning in something, it is not just fuel, it's sustenance for us. It's something that can keep us going. And you talked about being a father. I'm a father of 3. That means something to me. And there have been so many moments recently where I've just stopped and looked at my kids and watched them play together. And I enjoy that moment so much. And I wasn't able to do that before. Yeah. Because I was running at such a pace that I couldn't recognize it. And I remember a season when my son was about 2 years old. I don't remember when he was 2. Right. I see pictures and I'm like, I don't remember that, because I was running at such a pace. And now I make sure in those moments to sit and just watch them. Yeah. And you talk about your daughter running track. My daughter's playing volleyball right now and stuff like that. And they're not good at it, if we're honest, at that age. But it's so much fun to just sit there and absorb, like, this is their life. They're people that are pursuing and trying things. That's right. And it's great. And there's meaning in that.
A lot of times they show more courage than I know how to show. Yeah. Right? The fact that, these kids are playing baseball or volleyball or track, I'm like, it feels scary to do some of those things. And I don't know if I have the courage to do that. I mean, I'll just be very honest. I have been very blessed to have people who speak into my life and say positive words to me. Yeah. Even though the voice in my own head, the mental composition that I have, I think I've said this in the podcast, is probably my greatest opportunity for growth. The story that I tell myself isn't very positive.
Mm.
And I have people in my life that are always there.
Yeah.
To speak the positive words over me.
Yeah.
And it is a huge blessing to me, a benefit to me to have those people to say, dude, remind yourself of what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to do a tremendously difficult thing and it is hard.
Yeah.
And what you're experiencing, what you just told me, is that it's hard.
Yeah.
And that's what we should expect. So they've re-anchored me in the reality that is true, not the story that I tell myself about myself. And what a gift it is to have.
Yeah.
Right? And then I have a whole other population that honestly couldn't care at all what I do all day. That's not why they love me. That's not why they care about me. There's nothing to do with that. My nieces or my godchildren or my brother or my parents or my neighbors who literally have asked me 100 times what I do, and I try to explain, they're like, I don't know, one's a CPA and one's a piano tuner.
Yeah.
And they're like, whatever, dude, do you want to hang out on Friday night?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, let's just hang out,
Yeah.
And we talk about our lawns or whatever. It's so nice to remember I'm just a human being like every other human being with normal human being challenges and opportunities.
Yep.
And when I do that, you're like, oh yeah, I could do this.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, and so often we find our identity in what we do, and that's the context and the nature of where we live. I mean, that's just what humanity does, is who are you, what do you do? And you kind of think through that in that way, and it's so important to be reminded on those runs, on those times with your kids. For me, it's walking on the river walk by my house and just being in nature and being like, I'm just going to be for a little bit. I'm here right now. And we've said it so many times before. That's why we're called human beings and not human doings.
Well, here's the crazy thing. That's accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how old you are, what your title is, how much money you have or don't have, what neighborhood you live in. Everybody has the agency to just slow down.
Yeah.
And just be like, let me just take a moment. And it sounds, I'll be honest, it sounded so trivial and so like ridiculous. And then I started doing it.
Yeah.
And like, man, this really works.
Yeah.
And I don't know, many people know, but like my story, I felt like I was called into the Marines after 9/11. And I felt like I was called out of the Marines after 11 years.
Yeah.
And when I left, I had a freaking huge identity crisis.
Yep.
The ribbons and the medals and the rank and the uniform and, all the things. And I promised that I wouldn't make that mistake. I am not what I do. It's a part of who I am. It's not all of who I am. And so I think from that like huge pain, that's why we say at Forte, like, you are worthy of being known and loved for who you are, not merely just what you do.
Yeah.
That is not for everybody else. That's true for them. But I need to hear it myself.
Yeah.
Right? So like while I'm here for this season of Forte, it's awesome that I get to do this. But one day that season won't be there anymore. And I'm not going to lose my identity in the process.
Yeah.
And so it gives me a healthy, like, because I burned my hand in my previous season, to be much more cautious of making the same mistake twice.
Yeah. I think what's interesting about what we do too is we have these mental fitness coaches who can help you recognize those things too. And they're trained in mental fitness training and the 4 domains and PACER and this architecture, which I don't know if you've ever taken the moment to think that came from you out in the woods one day and just thinking like, we need to help people. And now you've got coaches who have been trained in a methodology that has been built out of Forte and mental fitness. And you've hired, as you call them, nerds to help figure that stuff out. He says it in the most loving way possible.
I do.
So
I'm a nerd too, so just to be clear.
He knows numbers in a way that's weird. But it's got to make you feel kind of like humbled that you've been used in that way. And I'm curious too, when things get hard, what do you do to help yourself in the mental fitness world? Like, are there things that you think about within the mental fitness ideology and the training of like, I need to pause. I need to do this and reflect.
Well, I mean, one of the things I'd say is the fact that If you had told me several years ago that we'd have a wait list of people who want to be mental fitness coaches on the platform to deliver this thing at scale to a human that they'll never see, I'd have said you're out of your mind. But that's true.
Yeah.
And it talks to the power of the need and desire for all humans to be known by another human.
Yep.
That isn't a thing that we created. That's just what it means to be a human.
Yep.
Right? It's just part of our wiring, our design. But going to your question of like, hey, what do I do? I mean, look, I'll do anything and everything to help me to like run this race as well as I can. Because I do feel like I'm in the pressure cooker of life.
Yeah.
There's Forte, and then I have 2 kids who are 10 and 12, and they are just wildly involved in a bunch of crazy things, right? Between the sports, and they both play an instrument. That's a lot. And so there's like who I want to be at home and who I want to be at work. And sometimes they can be at tension, right? So what are some of the things that I do? I think the first is I'm really trying to inculcate this practice of learning to tell myself a story that's more real about myself than I naturally do. That mental composition work.
Yep.
And the way I might do that is I think propositionally. You've got some of that today even. Like I do, if this is true, then this is true.
Right.
And if this is true, and I need to walk myself through that. Because sometimes I tell myself a story. I say a thing about Vineet, which is not propositionally true.
Right.
So I go back to what about this, Vineet? And I answer that question like a crazy person. I answer that question for myself. So I have to run myself through a series of questions because the power of question is core to our company. The question that a coach might ask in a non-leading way to another member. I try to do that to myself. I journal. I pray. I go out and silence and solitude kind of stuff. I like go for this run. I don't listen to anything. I don't connect to anything. And then I have people in my life that I've known for 2 decades that have been there at the very beginning of kind of the journey to here. And they can hold a mirror up and say, hey, Vinny, I heard you just say this thing. Is that true? I try to meet with those people on a regular basis. So those are a couple of things that I do to try to help myself. The other thing I would say is this is a very weird thing, but not so weird maybe. I found that I was trying to escape the stress of life by just watching a bunch of YouTube videos at night. Like, nothing wrong with the videos. They'd be like on it'd be on a dog or a truck. It'd be like what I would call like, I don't need to do any cognitive work. So they're just like silly videos about random things. Like, oh, this is a cool dog breed I didn't know about. Or this is, I shared with a team that I love fountain pens, nerd alert. So I might watch a video on a fountain pen, right? It's like, but I just can consume that. But I realized that as I went to bed, I was actually just trying to step away from the pressure that I felt. Which wasn't doing anything for me. So I recently stopped having the phone in my bedroom and putting it away. And what I did was I replaced that with books that I always said I want to read. And sometimes those books are a little heavy. But I found that I built the muscle to like go to bed and reach for my book instead of my phone. And that has helped me sleep better, and sleep has a huge benefit cognitively. And so putting away the device at nighttime and in the morning has been super powerful.
That's a rep.
That's a rep.
There.
That's a rep. And I don't know how to explain that, but I can have experienced it for me because I spent so much time in front of tech. It's really nice to hold a physical book, to write in a physical piece of paper with my lovely fountain pen and be in relationship with real humans. It's like keeping me more human in this crazy journey I'm in.
And I've already said this. We're in the studio. We're together. Our team was able to come together for this week here. And it's been really fun. You've made fun of us a little bit, but Guy Richard and I, who I interviewed another one, have been really into the nature outside. And where we're staying is this huge window, and we've seen these ospreys flying by and saw a fox, and we're both like enamored by it. But we wouldn't be able to do that through a screen.
Right.
And so coming together as humans has been really invigorating for us as a team, because we're seeing each other as humans and seeing each other like light up over the fact that a bird's outside and stuff like that. And it's those small things that I think we often forget in our humanity. Those small moments matter.
Totally matter.
There's connection there. There's awe there. And where I'm at in Michigan, I don't see ospreys.
Right.
And he's out in California. He doesn't see foxes, you know? So for us, it was like, this is so cool, you know?
Totally.
And it's been a really a great opportunity for us to recognize that in each other, but also still like do the work at the same time.
I will tell you that I love these times because there's nothing more exciting for me to hang out with our teammates in real life and get to know everybody better.
Yeah.
Like for all the weird idiosyncrasies that we all have, and we get to learn the fullness of that person more this week than we did last week, right? And that's why we're so motivated by the relationships that we have.
Yeah.
And if we can spend just some time getting to know each other about what books we like to read or why certain people do what they do, and I won't share all of the things on this podcast, but it's like, oh, I get who this person is more.
Yeah.
And that person becomes real.
Yeah.
And when I work with them remotely, I have that in my head and my heart.
Yeah.
Oh, I understand this human. You have a much greater empathy for someone you pause and gotten to know.
Yeah.
And importantly, I want you and everybody else to know, like, I'm a real human too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finite and fragile and fallen and fallible like the rest of us.
Yeah.
And I want to be clear and honest. You already know it, but I want to say it out loud and say, we're all doing this together. This messy experiment with messy humans in a messy world, we're doing it together. And I think that's part of the fun.
Yeah. And the reason we found out that he likes fountain pens is that you asked us to share with the team something that they might not know about us. And we went around the room. And I said that I am a woodworker, that I like building and doing construction. And I thought I had talked about that before, but it's not something I find special. It's just something I enjoy. And it was shocking to me to see people react the way they did. They were like, you do what? That's amazing. And I was like, oh, well, that makes me feel kind of good.
Buddy.
And then you talked about fountain pens and we were like, what? Like we had no idea. And that's a genuine human interaction, getting to know each other. That means something to each other.
And it also shares that we're real humans outside the confines of work. Like it couldn't be work related.
Yep.
And so I was jealous that you have woodworking skills. Bro, I couldn't hang up a thing on the wall without hurting myself, right? So like, that's a skill set that I wish I had.
Yeah.
And you have it. And you do it more naturally, where I'm not terrible with numbers. I do that more naturally.
And I don't.
Right. And that's why it's so cool that we all get to be together and like, wow, we're a team of wildly different humans doing an incredibly hard thing together. And there's more fullness about each other that we didn't get to know.
Yeah.
And we're still learning.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty cool experience for all of us to have.
Yeah. All right. I want to zoom out for a second because I think there are people listening to this who are carrying something right now, leading a team, running a company, holding a room together. And they are in some version of the experience you've been describing. And I want to ask you to talk to them directly. So you're welcome to talk to the camera, whatever you want to do. But if you could go back and give yourself one piece of mental fitness advice at the hardest point of this journey, not a platitude, something specific and true, what would it be?
So I one of the hardest parts of this journey was when we lost, I thought, the biggest deal of our company's existence at this time. Huge international brand, a year of discussion, and it all came to a head and we didn't close that deal. And it felt like a death blow, if I'm being honest. It's going to happen again. To you, to me, we're going to be disappointed in the outcome. But I want to remind you, as I try to remind myself, I'm not responsible for the outcome. You aren't either. You can't control it, at least. What we can do is show up every single day and try our best, given the resources and the faculties that we have, to serve one another. And if we did that, the outcome will be what it is. What we can control is, or have an influence on, is what we do on a day-to-day basis. It takes this huge kind of monumental thing and boils it down to a day by day. Can Vineet and you show up as best as we can, given what we have available. And some days that might just mean showing up to work and just trudging through it because of something that might be happening in our life. But most days, if you're like me, you are excited to come to work and push a boulder up a hill that you think is worth pushing up. So what I want to tell you is don't carry the weight of next year or next month or next quarter or what could be. Carry the weight that's presenting to you today and do your best for that day. And if we stack that up continually enough, we can be proud of the work we're putting into it. And we'll see where the results lie out.
As we always close this podcast, we close it with a rep. Hence the name, that's a rep. I mean, I kind of have to do it.
That's right.
This is this week's rep. This week, find one person that you lead. So on a team, in a company, at home. And instead of asking how the work is going, ask them how they're actually doing. Then do the same for yourself. So go to that person and just have a conversation. How are you doing? And then go off by yourself, go for a run and ask yourself, how am I doing? Write down one sentence about what you're carrying right now that you haven't said out loud to anyone. You don't have to share it, just name it, because you can't train what you can't acknowledge. It's really important to look inward sometimes and reflect and ask and pause, which we talk a lot about on this podcast and about mental fitness in general. Pause and have awareness of where you're at. It's really important. So Vineet, thank you for sitting in the chair today. And we appreciate you being here. This was a great conversation. And to everyone else that's listening, that's a rep.